I know a lot of people who have anxiety disorders probably struggle a lot with thinking that because they know something is not worth worrying about, that should make it easier for them to get over that fear. But also at the same time, feeling totally incapacitated by that fear. I know I had this problem a lot where I thought that I know no one cares what I do or what I look like, and I know it's all in my head, but for some reason that fear just totally takes over my life. But then I came across this one book that explained why it was that was happening. And that book is called The Science of Fear by Daniel Gardner. The funny thing is, it doesn't really have anything to do with anxiety disorders. It basically examines different aspects of society that are related to fear and explains the motives behind them. So how I related this to my social anxiety and pretty much all anxiety disorders is that it describes our thinking as part of two systems. One is our head brain, which is basically the logical, rational, reasoning part of our brain. And the other part is our gut brain, which is the impulsive feeling part of our brain. And the gut brain is way older than our logical brain, so it's much harder for logic to fight against it. You logically may know that talking to a person or like putting yourself out there on YouTube is logically not gonna hurt you, and it will probably be in your best interest in the long run. But that logic is pretty weak in comparison to your gut feelings. So oftentimes it's pretty hard for us to fight against those feelings that tell us that something isn't a good idea and that we shouldn't do it. This was a big eye-opener for me in terms of anxiety, because I always thought that I just wasn't smart enough, or I was just being totally irrational if I gave into that fear and went against what I logically knew was right. But reading this book, I understood that it doesn't matter if you know something to be totally logical. It's the emotional side that's in control. So most of the time you're not gonna win against the feeling part of your brain. I realized that I can't keep waiting for some source of inspiration or like a bolt of lightning to hit me and just somehow just magically snap out of my anxiety. I actually have to work to overcome it and constantly be fighting against that feeling that tells me that I shouldn't do something. And I also stopped thinking that overcoming anxiety would be a one-time thing, that I would only have to face that fear a couple of times, then I would be rid of my anxiety forever. But reading this, I know that's not true. Only after facing our fears for a prolonged period of time can we actually start to overpower that irrational side of our brain and let logic be what guides our decisions. That was my favorite book for anxiety that's not actually about anxiety disorders. I just bought a used copy at my university bookstore, not knowing that I would find it as informative as I did. But I'm so glad I picked it up because I really think it has changed my view on my anxiety and the way to treat it.